Pomposity.
Call himself the young wolf. How's that for pomposity?
Ceramic.
The Series 4 will also be built with a stronger back made of ceramic.
Roller.
So I found one brush and one roller.
Abrasion.
Sabrina had abrasions on her face.
Iota.
Well, I can't imagine that would matter to Dinesh one iota.
Separable.
Today's lesson is all about separable phrasal verbs.
Wrinkle.
Edie didn't like worrying. She felt it gave her wrinkles.
Urbanize.
The UN estimates much of the developing and developed world will be urbanized by 2050.
Crisp.
I recommend crisp beef and fried duck.
Guardian.
We need to be her legal guardians.
Disembark.
All right, get ready to move. Line up to disembark.
Grotesque.
I've just had the most incredible and grotesque experience.
Cause.
What was the cause of death?
Drowning.
Cultivate.
This is my land. I cultivate it.
Superfluous.
I see. What I planned to say is already superfluous, Mr. Lang.
Putrefaction.
Affront.
That is an affront to my reputation, an offense which I cannot abide.
Utterly.
He looked utterly mad.
Refurbish.
Emma is to refurbish Mr. Knightley's chair.
Untouched.
For now, it's hundreds of square miles of untouched mountain forest.
Impassive.
Harry tried with all his might to keep his face impassive.
Suborn.
I withdrew from that case to avoid spurning perjury.
Enjoin.
Why had he enjoined me, too, to secrecy?
Invocation.
And this invocation of mythology has some precedent.
Restful.
The hospice provides a restful atmosphere. People feel at ease.
Nonpartisan.
The nonpartisan site describes itself as the first crowdfunding platform designed for politics.
Scratchy.
I didn't sleep well last night, and I woke up with a scratchy throat.
Prank.
Kids play silly pranks every year.
Recognition.
Facial recognition required. Welcome, Mr. Burns.
Magnanimous.
Don't worry. I shall be magnanimous in victory.
Erode.
Storms have been eroding these cliffs for years.
Engagement.
God, that is the most beautiful engagement ring ever.
Treacherous.
Treacherous little bleeder. Is there no one we can trust?
Subdivision.
We discovered we could use a mathematical algorithm called subdivision to make smooth shapes.
Straight away.
A child is ill.
Don't panic. I'll come straight away.
Annoy.
I know I'm not perfect. I know I annoy people.
Conclusive.
I see no conclusive cause of death.
Informant.
The informant wants me to give us more information.
Abash.
Percy looked slightly abashed.
Gravitational.
Albert Einstein predicted gravitational waves over 100 years ago.
Repute.
I believe National Geographic to be of the highest international repute. Veracity.
And you feel confident with this story's veracity?
Vendetta.
If someone has a vendetta against pumpkins, now is their time to get revenge!
Pitch.
Sickening. There's no place for that kind of violence on a football pitch.
Tideland.
Grandeur.
Even faded grandeur has a certain charm.
Aggregation.
Recall that Italy itself was, until 1861, not a unified nation, but an aggregation of city-states.
Frigid.
People are swimming in frigid water for fun and for health.
Clamp.
Kate clamps a hand to her mouth.
Ardent.
Many parents and teachers are ardent supporters of homework.
Expertly.
The roads were icy, but she stopped the car expertly.
Chide.
Faint heart, she chided him. Draw your sword, knight, and help us reach our goal.
Spite.
Believe it or not, mosquitoes don't bite out of spite.
Respectful.
He was polite and respectful and super smart.
Photographic.
Photographic paper is highly sensitive to light.
Afterglow.
This is an image of the afterglow of the Big Bang.
Filial.
Many families expect their children to marry and continue the filial line.
Amnesia.
The amnesia only affected my memory. It did not affect my driving skills.
Captivate.
Even so, Mars has captivated humankind for centuries.
Incineration.
High-temperature incineration plants.
Intelligence.
Well, your son has above-average intelligence.
Proficient. Students are required to be proficient in English, finish high school, and be over 18.
Predictive.
Angelo Bellomo says the predictive modeling system looks promising.
Tangential.
Tangential to the primary story. How about I circle back to it?
Famine.
Some years ago, there was a famine in Ethiopia.
Illustrator.
Jan Berenstain was a children's author and illustrator.
Anthem.
Now please rise for the national anthem.
Ephemeral.
Human life is ephemeral, which makes it precious.
Optimistic.
They were optimistic about the future of their own families.
Demagogue.
On the Democratic side, you hear the message Trump is a dangerous demagogue.
Contemporary.
You know, I've always been curious about contemporary art.
Mitigator.
We believe that the ocean is also a main driver of the climate change, a main mitigator, in the way that the ocean and the life in the ocean is storing carbon dioxide, storing heat.
Tenet.
Let me remind you that the most basic legal tenet is innocence until proven guilty.
Lettuce.
George is eating the tomatoes, lettuce and cucumber.
Cinnamon.
Spices can come from tree bark, like cinnamon, plant roots, like ginger, flower buds, like cloves.
Factual.
We have no factual evidence yet that I am pregnant.
Homage.
To keep them, English kings had to pay homage to the French monarch.
Berry.
Do you like berries? Blueberries? Blackberries?
No.
Rashly.
And I'm thinking I may have acted rashly. I mean, every marriage has its rough patches.
Discharge.
He got discharged from the army.
Abrogate.
They said that they were going to fight not only to get their families out from behind those barbed wire fences, but because they cherished the very ideal of what our government stands for, should stand for, and that was being abrogated by what was being done.
Unassailable.
Lucky for Ashley that he had an unassailable reputation for courage, or else there'd be trouble.
Vocalization.
Young birds learn their vocalizations much like young humans learn languages.
Flammable.
It's flammable and a greenhouse gas, but it doesn't smell.
Unchallenged.
I will not allow this insult to go unchallenged.
Denounce.
Spain was denounced for its cruelty.
Imaginary.
Kids have imaginary friends. It's no big deal.
Entrench.
This disparity entrenches Harvard's retrograde tradition of privileges for men.
Interracial.
Disabled interracial lesbians with an African kicker.
Injurious.
This work is quite injurious to health. We get asthma.
Asymmetric.
The dress is terrific, asymmetric on the bias. I mean, you never see that.
Elongate. The fiber elongates quickly for about 16 days.
Outlast.
But if anything will outlast us on Earth, it may be our trash.
Motivator.
Desire for status can be a powerful motivator.
Enthusiast.
I'm not a cycling enthusiast, Neil, unlike you.
Neurologist.
Dr. Foreman, a neurologist, believes this woman has a brain tumor.
Manipulative.
You must be thinking I'm this manipulative, mean woman.
Vessel.
Far out at sea, a long-line fishing vessel is setting its line.
Discretionary.
As controller, he's got access to discretionary funds.
Conviction.
A judge has agreed to reopen his case. His conviction may be overturned.